Alright, hello. Doing a Madonna 519 decode for the 19th of May, okay? I'm on the Bad Girl song and the music video that goes along with that. The music video has a lot of symbolism for 519 in it, or connections, let's put it that way, to 519. During the video, we go in a cycle showing the death of Madonna in that music video. So obviously, I mean, I know there's a lot of music videos where Madonna croaks in them, but again, this is another one, and it's a little bit more relevant right now, simply because the other sort of main character in the music video is Christopher Walken, and we've just had Christopher Walken's birthday. It happened to fall on the same day as Easter this year, so 3/31. That's Christopher Walken's birthday. That was Easter. He's playing the guardian angel in the music video, and so there's a nice tie-in here with back to Christ, the Christ Walker. Okay. So where do we want to start with this? What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how this connects to, or maybe Madonna connects to, Doc Brown in Back to the Future. Okay. And the fact that she connects to Doc Brown is kind of interesting, because I just watched a We Seek We Find. If you wanna watch videos on 519, that date that's in movies. I mean, I know I've mentioned a few over the years. I've mentioned a couple of dates or a couple of references in movies, but there are lots and lots of references to 519 in movies. And the guy to go watch, the authority on that, is We Seek We Find. He's got tons and tons of references, or finds that link back to 519. Loads of them. Anyway, I was just watching a video the other day. It's a connection, Donald Trump back to 519. Anytime we have a connection, I think you're going to see connections with Donald Trump and the Queen to all of this stuff. Those are the two main characters, I reckon, QE2 and Donald Trump. And the reason being is that those two have birthdays that fall on Pluto end dates. Back to the Future is all about the return of Pluto, okay, amongst other things, all right? So this Pluto cycle that others have pointed out is coming to an end here on Donald Trump's birthday this year. There is another way of looking at the orbital cycle of Pluto as well, which is the synodic adjustment of the cycle, and when it finishes happens to be on would have been the Queen's birthday last year, 2023. Okay, the midpoint between those two dates is the 17th of November last year. Between Donald Trump's birthday and the Queen's birthday was the 17th of November. Yes, Danny DeVito's birthday. We see him in a ton of stuff as well. There's a ton of references to Danny DeVito. It's a personal reference for me, a huge personal reference for me, that date. But when we come forward, we've got another in-between date, right? That other in-between date is the 18th of, or maybe the 19th, the 18th through to the 19th, but I'm going with the 18th of May. Yeah, so that's a flip over point. So going into the 19th would be a flip over point. It's the midpoint between the Queen's birthday and Donald Trump's birthday in a normal calendar year. Okay, so although it's not the midpoint in between the two end cycle dates, which is the 17th of November, it's a midpoint between those two dates if you just looked at a regular calendar year. Okay, anyway, I've already got sidetracked. I'm trying to explain that, Donald Trump and the Queen, Q, they are extremely tied together in all of this, and they're extremely tied, both of them, to Back to the Future, extremely. And well, you know, when 9/11 happens, that's the reverse. That's the opposite side of the year, is the birth of the Queen. Okay, so we're seeing, you know, twinism with those two ideas. Well, I'm going to show you right now, maybe through a connection with Sean Penn in this whole thing as well. Blimmin' hell, there's a lot to get through. That the birth of the man is the death of the Matrix. Okay, so we've got a load to get through. And the caveat to this is I have chucked out a load of information here. There's a ton more to this that I am glossing over, and I'm not even including in here because it was just way too long. The video is just too much stuff to get through. Okay, so I've had to gloss through a lot of stuff. Anyway, so Bad Girl. We're not even going to go through the music video. There's a lot of extra stuff in the music video, a lot of symbolism. I may come back and do an actual, just a dedicated look at the actual music video and go through, you know, each of the scenes in that music video so we can see what's going on. But there's 9/11 references. There's some really good 9/11 references in there. Okay, she's constantly smoking. She gets strangled in the video by her stockings. Yes, the sock, the long sock, the leg. The 9/11 reference with the stocking. Okay, and during the whole thing, we have there's two radiators in the apartment that are faded into. They're the twin towers, and they are faded into tower blocks. And I mean, it's absolutely loaded, the video, right? I mean, she's smoking all the way through the thing as well. That's another 9/11 reference, the smoking tower. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to pick up on just one thing. We've already mentioned Christopher Walken there, but the other thing I want to pick up on is, actually, there's two things I'm going to pick up on. The guy that strangles her in the video, is the actor's name is Robert Campbell. Okay, and we're going to go and look at some of his gematria. Another thing that I want to pick up very quickly is there's a reference to Sean Penn in the video with her surname. She goes by Louise Oriole or something like that, which is what's on the name of her office on her door. That is that surname is a reference to where this just says it. You can go check Wikipedia for this, but this is a reference to where she lived with Sean Penn when she was married to him. Okay, so we have this reference back to being married to Sean Penn, and then the other thing I want to mention is right at the start of this thing, we see her dead, and then what happens? Christopher Walken opening his pocket watch, and we see time spinning backwards. And what we're going to see through the video is how we got to the point of her being dead. Okay, and when the clock starts spinning backwards, so i.e. that was the end point of the clock, and then the clock is going to be reversed. We're going to time travel backwards. It's going to be reversed, and we're going to see the events up to the death in the video. So like I said, there's a lot to go through with this decode, and really the video itself for Bad Girl needs its own, it needs its own video as well, which it would not be short. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you that one clip where the clock starts spinning backwards. Okay, I've tried to stop it as close as I could to the actual where the pocket watch flips open. So let me show you that now. So this is where the pocket watch flips open. This is Christopher Walken's hand. And what you'll notice is this thing starts spinning backwards real quick when you watch the video. The pocket watch opens and we see the time at, I want to say it's 5:19. It's extremely difficult to get the thing to stop right at this point. It took me ages to get it to stop right here, especially with my cruddy computer that is so slow, where every time I click something it's, you know, delayed, you know, a second or whatever. So this is as close as I could get it, but you can see we're on, you know, 5:19 right here with the hands. Okay, you can just about make the minute hand out. and the hour hand is past the 5 here. So we're right at, 5:19, I reckon, when this thing flips open. And you can kind of see the shadow still on here, or the blur of the lid popping open of this thing. So this is important. So this is the main 5-9 reference in here. Yeah. At this point, she is already dead. And then this thing starts spinning back, and then through the rest of the video, we're going to watch what happens till she gets strangled at the end. Okay. Not going to do any more on the video. Okay. I've talked through it. That's good enough. How do we connect back with that thing? And we've got her sitting here with the crazy Doc hair, right? How do we connect this thing back now to a couple of other ways, back to the future and back to the 519 date? The first thing I want to do is, before I forget about this, is I'm going to show you a number jump that's to do with this album. If we go to, back this up a second. Come on. See how slow this computer is? Blimmin' hell. If we go to the release date, 2/2. Now 2/2 is important. February the 2nd. 2/2 is important because if you've just watched some of my decodes about the 2/2 number jumps that are in the dollar bill, that is a date that is picked out in the dollar bill, 2/2. Okay. So it's interesting she's using that date. And then the length of the song is 5:23 long. Okay. Again, 5:23 is tying into a cluster of numbers here that we're coming up on. 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd. These are all numbers that they're just super relevant. Okay, I'm not going to go into why they're super relevant, but they tie into the dartboard and the chart of Lorraine. If you watch my stuff, they're all super duper relevant numbers. Okay. And of course, 519 is on the dollar bill as the lamppost, as I've mentioned before. And in several of her videos, music video, we have the lamppost referenced. In fact, in We Seek, We Find's video, he actually references the lamppost as the maypole. Yes, it is the maypole, but that lamppost is also a reference to phi, is also a reference to the number 1 and 0 forming the lamppost. And there's also, if you go over to the alphabet and take the 1 and the 0, which is the letter I, and the O, I-O, again, ties back to 2001 with the sequel. I-O is in the sequel. But I-O, I-O is 519, and that is also in the dollar bill with the lamppost. Okay, people that are just clicking on this are just going, what in the hell is this dude talking about, is in the dollar bill with the lamppost and all this stuff? Obviously, this is all stuff that's, in the back catalogue there. But it would take too long to explain and show you every little thing. Anyway, 2/2 through to 5:23. I wanted to show you that number jump. Where do I have it up? Actually, I think it's actually here. Nope, it's not there. I'm going to show you all these number jumps in a minute. 2/2 through to 5:23 is 111 days. Why is that important? I'm going to show you why 111. Obviously, everybody's shouting, that connects to 9/11, Dan. It connects to the Queen, the 111th day of the year, her birthday. It connects to 9/11, 111th day when that thing fell. 111 days, sorry, left in the year when that thing fell. Those two are twin dates. 111, super duper important in terms of death and rebirth. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to show you a few other number jumps in here, but before I do that, right, I want to just whiz through a couple of other things. So as we connect Madonna back with Doc, the first person we ought to look at is the Christ Lord, Christopher Lloyd, okay, who is playing Doc. And let's look at his birthday. Now, you'll see that his birthday is October the 22nd. That is the same date as that famous train crash that I talk about quite a bit, where that steam train has come through the second story station, through the wall there, and has crashed down onto the pavement. Okay, just like in Back to the Future with the 131 train going over the cliff, there's some synchronicities there. Okay, that train itself, with the numbers on the train, heavily synchronizes with Madonna. Okay, 1022, Christopher Lloyd's birthday, has a personal connection for me, has this train connection, which train connects back with Madonna. And this is also 122, and this also ties, 122 is in Christopher Lloyd's gematria. I don't know if I have it in the gematrinator, but again, 122, well, it's either in Doc Brown or Christopher Lloyd. There's a 122 in there somewhere. And again, Die Another Day, this thing that I got kind of obsessed with here, this Die Another Day with her in the Bond film, and all the little references that are in there. Again, release date 10/22. Okay, so is she going to die another day in connection with Christopher Lloyd 10/22? Interesting. And Back to the Future. Anyway, let's go look at the gematria now, and I'll explain why this connects in with Madonna quite nicely, and why Back to the Future ties in with her. So the first thing we want to do is we want to look at the corrupted version of Madonna. Her name in that context is Madame X. Okay, let's look at Madame X. Let's look at the numbers here: 61, 25, 128, 38. Okay, now let's look at Great Scott. The phrase that Doc uses a hell of a lot. 128, 38, 142, and 61. Okay, so we have it's not a super match, but it's a good. We've got 3 matches there. That's pretty good. Okay, and then let's look what Marty says. Heavy. Okay, check this out. We have a 71, 25. We don't need that. A 71, a 61, 25, a 61, 25 with Madame X. Okay, so super duper important. If we look at Madonna's full name, because Louise is referenced in the music video for Bad Girl, she's using Louise, and the last name, the Oriole, or whatever the hell that is, I can't remember off the top of my head, but something like that, is the street where she used to live with Sean Penn. Okay, so she's using Louise. There's a point to referencing that. Okay, and the point is the full name of Madonna. Okay, check out the 195. It's a bit obvious, but 195 for the full name of Madonna here. Okay, and check out the 111 in the reverse reduction. Okay, so we have this referenced with the number jump for the numbers with Bad Girl, the release and the song length, and again it ties us back into this 195 quite nicely, and it ties us into the full name quite nicely. Okay. Oh, I do have Doc Brown in here. Here's the 122, that numerology. Okay, and look at the 94 that's with it. How much stuff was there on Madonna with 94? Tons of it. Absolutely tons of it, especially connecting with Guy Ritchie stuff in his sort of connections with Madonna. Okay, and the music video and Snatch. Okay, 94 is heavy, man. Heavy. Okay. A couple of other things that I got in here, right? So we've got Sean Penn. So let's look at Sean Penn here. 128, 38. 128, 38, the same as Madame X. 128, 38, the same as Great Scott. So we've got, again, this stuff tying in, right? Now I've got Robert Campbell up here. This is the name of the actor that strangles Madonna, okay, in the music video. Check out the 61. We don't need that. Let's check out the 61, 83. Yeah, 61, 38. I know it's a flip round, but we're going with it. We've also got the 142 here. 142 ties back down to Great Scott. So we've got a lot of matches here. Okay. I'm going to explain something that happened to me when I looked for Robert Campbell. Okay. And what I actually have in here is Bob Campbell, because what shows up a lot, a popular name, obviously, the abbreviation of Robert is Bob. Okay, so Bob Campbell, again, there's a ton of Bob Campbells with where you can pick out little 915 tie-ins or tie-ins to Madonna's ICU stint, the 24th of June, or they tie in with or they tie in with the twin day of um, the 19th of May, which is, I believe I might be wrong here, I believe it's the 13th of August. You know, the 13th of August also ties in with Diana, which is the 31st of August, you know, with the same numerology there. But that twin day, you know, I mean, you can find quite a few little connections to 519 through Bob Campbell, through all the different Bob Campbells, because there's quite a lot of them that have managed to make it onto Wikipedia. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of those, but just look at Bob Campbell here with the 8338, 214 again. These 214 and the 142 numbers here references back to the Queen's birthday, the 21st of April. Okay, so important. Okay, and I'm going to come on to that again with Back to the Future in just a second. 61. Okay, so I wanted to mention that, and I wanted to mention that there's a ton of connections there. Okay, and to the name Campbell, you know, Wayne's World, and connect Wayne's World with Austin Powers, and Austin Powers with the Ruffly. There's just a ton of stuff to connect all this, you know, this together. And she does a song. I think she did "Beautiful Stranger" for Austin Powers, and so we've got all these kind of connections back to Washington with the ruffled tie, and Austin Powers with "Beautiful Stranger," and she ties into the Bond thing in several different aspects, you know, and Christopher Walken with "A View to a Kill," then "Die Another Day," and then of course the Powers thing, right? Anyway, without getting too whiffly waffly, which I've already done, what happened to me when I looked up trying to find the actor's birthday, Robert Campbell, the actor that actually that kills Madonna in the, I might have it up here actually, I'm sure I had him. This guy, okay. There's no given birthday for this actor, Robert Campbell, right here, okay. When I looked this up, the first time I looked this up, there was some kind of, I don't know what you call it, error, or there was some connection, and it was as if somebody had taken this character and put the stats for this guy, Robert Campbell again, a footballer, a Scottish footballer, no less, with the great Scott, yeah, the great Scott, and there's a ton of Scottish footballers with the name Bob Campbell, okay? So this guy, anyway, born the 19th of May, but there was a cross. It was like somebody had put this guy's stats on for the actor, and I noticed that something was wrong there. But it kind of drew my attention to the fact, well, this is interesting that there's this connection with the Scott, with the great Scott here, and there was two teams that this guy played for, Dumbarton, and I don't know how you say this, but Cowdenbeath maybe. And I was thinking, cow and beef. That does sound kind of interesting, and you know, you see the symbol for cow and beef, and you know, you've got the red moon, the blood moon, the lion, the red lion, which in fact there's a reference to the lion in that music video. She has a little orange cat, you know, the tamed lion, that's her pet in the music video, you know. So, and then obviously the blue and the white, and on the shield, which is the best breastplate, which is the bulletproof vest. And I just thought, well, this is just an interesting connection here, you know. I didn't really, you know, this is the kind of stuff like it just sort of pops up, you know, and it's just You know, that's a super easy sort of connection there, which, you know, you wouldn't get in a million years if you didn't go and look at this. If this hadn't popped up with that other guy at the time, like I probably would never have made that connection. Like there was some kind of wires crossed there or something. Anyway, I'd put Cowden beef in the Gematrinator as well, and funnily enough, it's got a good match with Time Machine, with the 100 and 197, and the Time Machine is the same, 100 and 197. And also, just while we're on the bottom part of here, Dr. Emmett Brown and Madonna, we've got the 62, 73, 37 is a backwards of that, and we've got a 26, which is a backwards, and we've also got the forwards, and the 62 here with Time Machine. And so there's a few other connotations of these words you can put in, and you can get individual matches as well. So it would make the connections a little stronger, but I didn't want to do just singular matches for the most part. Plus, that there was a ton of stuff already in this to look at without adding in another 10 words here to look at. So let me explain a couple of the number jumps now, because we're pretty close to the end of this one. We've done the strangler in the video. We've done the stupid little connection here to Cowden beef. We've got that done and out the way. I want to focus back in on Sean Penn, okay, because Sean Penn is the first husband of Madonna's, okay, and he's got a lot of interesting ties with his films. And I mean, the importance of his birthday is it's the day after Madonna's birthday. His birthday is on the 17th of August. There was another nice little tie-in with the gematria for this, which I'm not going to show you now, but it was a 155 day. It was a 155 number that was in here, which that 155 ties in with the dollar bill, and it ties in, the dollar bill ties in, 155 ties 9/11 through to 2/13, and through another 155 days takes you to the 17th to the 18th of July, a 187 number. Okay, it's not August the 17th, but it's a 187 number. And then the final 55 days takes you back to 9/11. Okay, so the 155, the 55 jumps that are in the dollar bill, very, very important. Okay, and it was referenced within this bunch of gobbledygook that I've been looking at. But that 187 is a reference as well back to Sean Penn. Okay, so let me show you this dartboard decode that ties with Sean Penn that's super important as well. Okay, because Sean Penn is referenced in the music video with the street name of the surname of Madonna's character. And we've got the 128 and the 38 here, and also the 88, of course, with Back to the Future. And so 128 and 38, we can see, ties in with Madame X. And Madame X is, yeah, X marks the spot. This is the thing, the corrupt thing that has to come to an end, right? This is the character she's playing at the minute. She's got herself looking, she's really got herself looking bad, you know, very unattractive. Her actions as well have become, if they could become any cruder, they've become cruder. And so, you know, we've seen this progression from when she started in the music industry, and you see this with most artists as well when they're in the music industry. They start off all innocent, and by the time they get to the end, they have been corrupted, and they look terrible. I'm thinking of Michael Jackson, you know, and this is what this thing has done to Madonna. Okay, whether she's playing that role consciously or unconsciously, I don't know. I have a slight feeling she's actually playing the role consciously, but maybe she's not. Maybe she is unaware of her role. I think she's aware of it, and if she's not, then I don't know what else to say. But anyway, I lost my train of thought there. I got sidetracked. Anyway, let's look at the let's look at this connection with Sean Penn, okay? So I think they even got married on, I think they got married on her birthday, okay? So he's the next day on. He's the 187. Let's look how that ties in the dartboard. Super important. The first thing to note at the top of the dartboard, with the dates coming up, 5/21, obviously a couple of days later, 5/21. This is the top of the dartboard. It's a huge date in terms of potential of something happening, okay? Because it's the very top. It's the head of the cross that's in here, okay? And of course, you can see the 611 or 911 that comes across halfway with this. And of course, the 203rd day of the year, or 203 days left, I can't remember which way around it was, is 611 in the calendar. A, a guy that talks about 611, or used to talk about 611, I haven't watched him for a while, is Jurassic Liars with the 611. Okay, so an interesting date for sure. But let's look at this Madonna thing. Madonna is right here. Note that when we go across from here, we have 134. This is going to become important in a minute when we go and look at the Back to the Future scene that I want to show you. So remember the numbers of pi, but 134 is also here, okay? Which is the numbers of pi as well, but just in a different order, okay? And 143 is also a balanced number, just in a different order. 143 ties to Dam Busters. 143 is the combination of 55 and 88 coming together, the two towers finally coming back together, 55 and 88. Hopefully I'll be able to show you that in a second as well. So those two things coming together, this is important. Her numbers are opposite this, okay? But let's see who's next to Madonna. And if we go from this 7 here and go directly across, what's balancing with the 7 is, it's the 187, okay? It's the 18, okay? Next to that 118, which is a, you know, we've got almost a tower symbolism here. If we flip back, we've got another tower, 119, okay? 119, 911 is right next to this 187 here. I know this is kind of complicated, but bear with me. So this 187, which is Sean Penn's birthday, which is right next to Madonna's stuff here. It's right next, tying into Madonna's stuff, right? Let's look at what crosses with 187 here. Let's cross. It's 915, okay? 915. Okay, so here is our 519 in reverse here. Yeah, the 19th of May is right here, crossing with Sean Penn. Okay, crossing with the 187, the murder, death, kill number. Okay, when man is born, what must happen to be reborn? We must kill. The sacrifice that has to happen is the false ego. Yeah, that killing of the mirror reflection of ourselves, the mirror that controls us. Yeah, the wrong reflection of ourselves, that thing that is in the metaphysical. It's the false ego. Yeah, why is it false? Because it's projected from, you know, the physical self who is in the matrix. Yeah, it will always project a false ego at that point. I hope this is making sense. That's the thing that has to die, though. That false ego has to die. The man in the mirror has to change, right? So the death, that is the sacrifice that has to happen. That's the guy that has to die, right? That's the guy that is the sacrificial goat or lamb or whatever, right? And so what we have is when the matrix dies is when that thing is resurrected, is when that thing is born. So we've got Sean Penn's birthday, the birth of man, with the death tying in with the death of the matrix here, maybe, potentially. Okay, I wanted to show you that. Super duper important how that ties into the dartboard. Okay, let's do one or two more things that tie in here. Let's go look at We Seek's video. What we can see is, we can see Doc being shot. Doc is Madonna, maybe. Doc is the Matrix. Again, did I already say this? But being being liberated, freed by the Libyans, freedom, and in the VW bus that is the is the Mary colours with the Hospice Maria on the front. Yeah, the Mary colours here, the blue and white of the Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott is killing Doc here. Is killing Madonna. Okay. Now, obviously, this thing goes ahead and crashes into the Fox, the Michael J. Fox, the yellow. This thing joins back with the yellow here in a minute with when they crash. Okay, but it's just interesting anyway. What we seek, we find, as pointed out, is that these letters on the side of the truck that are in frame here gives us the 195519. Okay, so he's pointed this out here. There's a couple of other spots earlier in his video where he points out the 195 connection. Interestingly, that involves a lamppost, as I may have already mentioned. Notice that the back of this thing at this point, yeah, when Doc is getting shot here, we have the Twin Towers here again with the ramp at the back of the truck when it opens up. You know, notice that is another 9/11 reference. They didn't just have a big flat platform come out, they had double ramps come, yeah, down. Okay, so this is all, you know, that the double ramps folding down, I'm getting sidetracked again, but the double ramps folding down, a reference to the Twin Towers coming down and the birth of the DeLorean. Yeah, the DeLorean comes out of the back of the truck, and now Doc and Marty are going to get into a whole bunch of trouble time traveling. Yeah, interesting stuff. But again, Twin Tower symbolism, right? Because this is all tied together. And as I'm saying this, what I must point out is that, yes, all of these references here tie back to the Hoover Dam. Yeah, because it's the same symbolism. Okay? And so the Hoover Dam, I believe, is the event that will mark the sort of the end of the cycle. Yeah? So Hoover Dam references will overlap an awful lot with 911 references, you know, hence the no smoking sign, you know, the Hoover logo with a smoking tower inside it. Yeah, those two things are essentially the same thing. They're part of the same cycle. Yeah. Anyway, Doc's getting shot here. We Seek, We Find has found this 519 reference in here. There's some more 519 references in here. But what I want to show you is at this point, Marty has already time traveled back and is watching this event occur. This is Marty's vantage point where he's watching from, as we can see here. Note the time that Marty has got to the Lone Pine Mall now. Okay. He has got there at 1:33. If we read that in reverse, we have 3:31, which was Easter, Christopher Walken's birthday this year. He is watching the event unfold right here with a reference to rebirth, resurrection and rebirth here. Marty, when he made that trip back, okay, let me see if I can get on it actually, because it would be handy if we could see that point. I don't know if it will get on it or not. This computer is just so darned it's slow. So he's made the jump back, right? There's the fire trails, right? More 9/11. And this is, right, I want to be about here, I reckon. There's the 10:04 on the clock tower, which is important. And I'll show you why in a second. Blimmin' hell. Let's see if I can get to where I need to be. The DeLorean conks again, right? Come on. Taking too long. You can see how slow my computer's gotten. It is just, he's trying to start the DeLorean there and it won't start, okay? Let's try this. I want to just reference this because it's important, actually. Man, it would be lovely to sit down and just do a whole day decoding Back to the Future and just going through scene by scene, just all the numbers and everything. Man, I reckon I could do. Hang on. I just had it there in the thumbnail. This is so painful, Dan. This is really spoiling the flow here. See if I can. There. Oh. Oh. Anyway, what's happened is he's made the trip back. The DeLorean is. He's going to go now and warn Doc about the impending getting shot. Except the Libyans. Come on. You can imagine how painful that was trying to find that 120, find that 519 in that Madonna video. I tell you, it was terrible. So the clock that is shown here, again, this is important. We've got the 124, which is the Queen's birthday in reverse here, 421, right? We've got the Bank of America here. The Bank of America. The bank is the thing that holds back the water. Whether it be an embankment, like the actual dike, the actual wall of the dam, which is an embankment, okay, that's holding the water, that contains the flow. The banks of the river contain the flow. Yeah, the bank is the thing that holds the flow of the currency or the water or the money, okay, because money is time, the flow of water, and that connection back to time is the metaphysical, is water, okay. This is why those things are so interconnected with terminology, right? Again, so the Bank of America, right? So this is the dam here again, okay? And we've seen we could probably go and look at when Bank of America went under, and we can probably connect this right back into 9/11 and right back into what I think is the impending destruction of the Hoover Dam. But note this, okay, because Marty at 133 there, or actually the clock changes to 134, and he falls down the embankment like he's being reborn out of the dam, okay? So this is important stuff to note what the bank is, okay? The bank is the matrix. This is what runs the matrix, is the banking system, the bankers, okay? That's what it's all about. Contract law is the banking system. It's about holding man, making man accountable to a contract through the use of, or the leverage of, money, okay? So it's all interconnected, you know. You'll notice that most banks actually have that temple symbolism in their construction, okay, of the clock tower, right? No doubt this thing is right on the side of, you know, where the clock tower is, okay? In fact, it may even, I don't think it's part of the same, it might be part of the same building, I'm not sure. So this is very interesting. But notice the 124 with the Queen, okay? So if we do some number jumps, because we want to tie back into the actual Queen and not just the Queen of Pop, if we look at, and because we're dealing with the return of Pluto, right? If we look at the start date for the birth of the United States, so we're looking at the birthday here, and then the return date of, actually, let me show you this first, and let's look at the return date for Pluto, which is the Queen's birthday normally, 421, yeah? If we look at when she actually died, which was 9/8, the 8th of September, she was 225 days short of getting back to her birthday, which was the completion date for that cycle, okay? And when we look at actual where that took us in terms of, I'll show you that as well, where that took us in terms of numbers here, from the start of the United States of America, through to her death, we have 89915. There's two numbers in here that we can split off. We can split the 89 of her death, okay? Yes, which happens to be 225 days. I'll come on to the 225 in just a second. And 915 is in here as well, okay? So this is super duper important with if we had Madonna die on 915, right? To re-reference back to this, right? Okay. And the 98 connecting back with this, because if we look at how many days it is from Madonna's birthday, 519 through to Madonna's birthday is 89 days. So you see how that would tie back with the Queen's death and the cycle of Pluto, how she was short, 225 days short of the cycle of Pluto. Now, the reason why I bring the 225 days up is because in We Seek, We Find's video, and as I've mentioned before as well, and if you've watched Back to the Future, you'll know this reference, is the Essex theatre that is in the background on a couple of occasions, right? The Essex, the reference to Essex is also, as We Seek, We Find points out, another 519 reference and a 24 reference as well, yeah, with the X gives us this year. So Essex is a 19 May 24 reference, right? It is also a reference to 225. The reason why it's a reference to 225 is because a certain gentleman, donkeys years ago, had his head cut off on that date, which was, and interestingly, you see Donald Trump with this symbolism as well, with the head severed. That guy was the Earl of Essex, okay? The Earl of Essex. And when you look at all the Earls of Essex, they all have really nice tie-ins with dates that show up to do with all this stuff in the dollar bill. And that 225 that we saw there, where the Queen was short 225, very interesting, because that's the date he gets his head cut off. He actually was in the Tower of London, and I don't know if they did it actually in the Tower. They probably did it, but not in front of people, I think, so to speak. And there is a tower now named Devereux Tower, because he was a Devereux, okay? But what's fascinating about that whole thing is that he was connected with the Queen. He was kind of I don't know if he was maybe a lover of the Queen, okay? And they fell out, and he got his head cut off, basically. So there's a lot of interesting stuff to do with that, and I've talked about little bits and bobs before. Obviously, I have a similar surname to this character, which is, and I have several other references back to Essex and things like this. So it's a little personal reference for me. But again, what else did I have? Oh, yeah, we already knew that because we saw, her birthday through to her death through to her birthday is this 225. So that reference back to Essex, and so when you see that Essex, and Essex shows up quite a few times in other films. I'm thinking I'm sure Essex House is in Home Alone, maybe Home Alone 2 or something. And obviously the surname Devereux shows up in a ton of films. It's in a ton of films. In fact, I think Chris Columbus, his wife, I'm sure, the filmmaker guy, I'm sure his wife's name she may be a Devereux. And it shows up in tons of films. The one I think that's, the main one for me, I think, is Jean-Claude Van Damme in Universal Soldier. Okay, his character, he's a Devereux in that. Okay, it's just absolutely crazy, the connections. But again, this 225, that ties in. And so if we go from, this is the final thing here now, if we go from the 17th of November, Dan DeVito, Dan Dev, again with the Devereaux Dev, Dan DeVito is, because I don't know if you know this, but my kind of abbreviated name is Dan Dev, yeah. So Dan DeVito, oh dear, Danny DeVito. But from this, and I actually have a couple other references to. This is a super important date in my life, the 17th of November. So from that date, which is the midpoint between the two Pluto cycles, 2023, takes us to 629 is 225 days. Okay, and also you could read that backwards, 522, which is again in this cluster of numbers here, right around the 21st of May, right? So again, this is super duper interesting that we're going to 629. For those of you who don't know, this is the Who's That Girl reference, and it's also the midpoint between the solar eclipse that we just had and the first. It's going to be a partial lunar eclipse on the 18th of September, if I'm getting that right. So this is super duper important. Let me also show you one more thing, and then we'll be done. Here is the chart of Lorraine. Here is the clock tower in the chart of Lorraine. Okay, let me just note here. Oh dear, let's get it on something that I can do something with. Let's go to a box, black, and let's go to heavy. Okay, here's the 225. Here's 521. Okay, here is 519. Here is 518 tying into 813, which is the twin date for 519 this year. Oh my goodness. I think it is anyway. I hope I'm getting that right. We can do cross references to all these numbers. 510 is a cross reference to 225. 510 is where we end up going over here with the lamppost. Okay. The lamppost is the 1 and the 0, the I and the O. Okay. IO is 519. Okay. Just out of interest, 516 is Pierce Brosnan's birthday, who does GoldenEye with the dam jump, who does Die Another Day with Madonna in it. Okay. What else is there to say? The fifth element down the bottom of the courthouse here, down the bottom of the tower, the clock tower, is 520 or 5520. Okay. Super duper important, right? When Marty does make the fall down the hill, and we've moved 1 minute on from 133, we're at 134, right at the start of Lucas numbers. This also crosses here. This was one of the first crosses that I picked out of this chart, was this 134 cross, which ties back into Madonna's death now with 134 as he goes down that hill and Doc's just getting shot. Okay. This is 88. Add these two 134s together and you get an 88. This is if I was to draw it stylized, right? This is the 4-leaf clover with the 88, yeah? Okay, which also appears on other dollar bills. Okay, so it's super duper important. It also appears on the $2 bill. Okay, just super important stuff. Donnie Darko, yeah, the song by gosh, I've gone blank here now. I've gone completely blank. Oh dear. Well, you know the song. I can't think of the names right now. Roland and what's his name? And Kurt. But anyway, what else is there to say about this? I don't know. If I get rid of all that jazz real quick and I just explain the clock tower, which is also the Great Scott, okay, so this is important. We have the stylized lightning coming down, right? 55, hitting the top of the clock tower. Yeah, the top clock stops at 1:04, okay, 10:04. And then we have 9/11 coming through here. And as we pass through 9/11, we also have 591 in here, the 19th, okay? And as that comes through, the lightning comes through, it goes to the lamppost, yeah? And the lamppost is the number 10 down here, okay? Yeah, 5-1 is the number 10 as well. 5-1 is the maypole. It is the lamppost. As we find also points out, the lamppost is the maypole. Yeah, usually it's the phi symbolism. If you look at maypoles, they usually have a little circle at the top. Not always, but especially the like German ones and stuff, they have the little circle at the top of them. Okay, it's phi symbolism. It's the number 10. Okay, it's the maypole. 5-1. Mayday. Mayday in A View to a Kill with Christopher Walken. Yeah. Don't forget the 133 comes right here in the Great Scott. Okay, here's the 187 that ties back with Sean Penn. I mean, I don't know what else I can say about this. You know, it's just super loaded. Here's the 143, yeah, which is the combination of these two towers again, yeah, 55 and 88. Okay, the twin towers that is right here. Okay, done. That's the end of the video. I don't know if I've got anything else to say about it. But again, yes, this is in the dartboard, yeah, across from Madonna's stuff, yeah, the 134 when Marty is reborn down the bank there, okay? That has to be it. Okay, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Catch you on another one real soon. I may do, this has ended up being longer than the other video I did. But anyway, I will try and do another video soon on maybe I'll go into this into a little more detail. That's quite a lot of detail anyway. But anyway, thanks for watching. Cheers. All right. Bye.